Hello and welcome back, everyone. I hope you had a nice lunch break. It is now time for CFO Lars Torstensson to present MTG. A warm welcome to you, Lars. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, and pleased to be part of the Vator conference as well, and looking forward to present MTG. As we always do, then I usually go through our business for the ones that are not familiar with the company, and also a little bit more details as well for the ones that know us a little bit better. And I think hopefully that will be something for everyone that are participating today. So to begin with, of course, I mean, it needs always to be mentioned that we are addressing a big macro trend that is currently going on. Of course, the development of the video games and esport market that is a new entertainment form. I recall when I began at MTG, I was talking about 2.4 to 2.5 billion gamers worldwide. We ended 2020 with 2.7 billion, and we will continue to grow as people enjoy and get entertained with through more devices out there as well, and also gets more excited about the content that's being produced. Moving on to the next slide then. We have a long history at MTG, and some of you might have come across us from early days. So MTG has been around for 30 years, addressing the entertainment industry in different shapes and forms. And in the beginning, it was more linear TV and traditional radio. It moved into streaming, SVOD platforms, and now in the third iteration, so to speak, following the split from Nordic Entertainment Group, we are now set up to invest into two very exciting industries and verticals, which are then esport and gaming. We call it a buy and build strategy, something that we share with several of our peers in the Nordic market. That means that we invest in companies that we believe would fit into the MTG family model. We would like to own a majority of these companies, and we believe that there should be a logic also to why we own the companies that are part of our two verticals, then gaming and esport. I'm going to go into each and both verticals here in my presentation, but just to give you a holistic view of what MTG is today. We are today the number one esports group in the world through the three assets that we currently have. Two of them have been merged, which is ESL and DreamHack, and is today named ESL Gaming. And then we have also an emerging asset called DreamHack Sport Games, but I will touch upon all these three assets in the coming slides. Then we also have a strong position within both casual and mid-core through the four studios that we own today. And we continue to be very active in this space, and we are just about to close the Ninja Kiwi deal now, end of May. Underpinning it, we have our VC fund. It's a quite small fund, around $30 million. It is then our way of keeping an ear to the ground, understanding new emerging trends within both esports and gaming. Some of these companies that we hold might become majority investments later on, and some of them we will divest as we see that as a better path for those investments as well. And we have recently done, for example, the exit of Phoenix Labs that was sold to Sony Entertainment. So let's jump into esport first and then moving on to gaming. As said, then we have a new entity that was created late last year called ESL Gaming that is now being made up of two of the largest esport assets out there. It is ESL that was founded in Germany, and then of course close to home then DreamHack that was founded in '94. And that is based in Stockholm now. Then these two very strong assets is making up ESL Gaming, covering more or less the whole entertainment pyramid within esport. Then we also have DreamHack Sport Games, which is a little bit of a younger asset. It was founded in 2019, based out of Copenhagen, and then is set up to address then the movement that we're currently seeing with sports moving into the digital arena, becoming also esports. And then you see more traditional brands there, like the NHL, the Olympics, as well as different football leagues. We often get the question, how are you placed in the ecosystem, as there are a lot of different assets out there. And of course, being to some extent a little bit biased here, we believe that we are placed a little bit in the middle of the frying pan, feeling very good about the relationship that we have with both the publishers and the teams on the left-hand side, but also equally important that we can build our own IPs then, and then having direct relationship with both media distributors as well as brand sponsors. That is also giving us a good connection towards the fans out there, which is also creating a good interaction then between the fans, us, and then of course in the end the teams and the publishers. The way we usually depict esport is then through a pyramid, and that is the way we think about the esport as well. We call it from zero to hero concept, that everyone from amateurs all the way up to professionals should feel that they have a role to play within the esport ecosystem. And then, of course, there should be a possibility for everyone to enjoy esport, depending on which capacity that they have, but also feel that they have a shot at becoming the professional player within esport. Of course, this setup is very similar to what we are used to in Europe when it comes to divisional systems and so on. But we also think that it also creates an additional nice touch to esport, that there is a possibility for people to reach all the way up, and that is not the closed league format. Of course, it's also very important that we have relevant titles from publishers that we can then offer to the different teams and players. And we feel that we are today well represented when it comes to our relationship with the different publishers. Out of the top 12, we have a direct relationship with 9 of them. And of course, we hope to see that we can also evolve our discussions with the ones that we not yet have a direct relationship with as such. The reason why, from an MTG perspective, we are very excited then about the esport and the opportunities ahead. And I'm going to show you 2 slides on this. The first one is, of course, the demographics of esport. And it's always interesting to look upon how esport is set up when it comes to how the fan base is looking like versus other types of sports. And the first thing you realize is, of course, that it's a very young audience. On average, we're talking about an age of 26, 27 years old, but it's then quite well distributed all the way up to 44, 45-year-olds as well. So it's a quite wide audience that we're talking about. Just to contrast it, I mean, we're talking about 26, 27 years old fan base then on average, but if you, for example, compare to Major League Baseball in the US, we talk about 54, 55 as an average age. Of course, this is something that will over time become very attractive for example, brand sponsors or media buyers that would like to rejuvenate their customer base as well, to be able to reach out to this exciting fan base as well. And then just to take away a few misconceptions also when it comes to esports is, of course, that these fans are on average compared to other sports have a higher level of education. And on average, they also have a higher level of income as well, making the esport fan even more interesting and attractive. On top of that, of course, these fans are notoriously hard to reach because 70% of them use ad blockers of some sort, which means that the best way, of course, to interact with them is, for example, through esport. The other picture I would like to show before moving into gaming is, of course, what we believe, or if there's one slide you should remember, it is this one. We believe that we are currently under monetizing the value of esports, and here compared to well-known franchises in the US. Not saying necessarily that this would be possible for us to close the full gap here, but it shows you at least an idea of what sort of a delta that we are trying to address. And we do recognize, of course, that these leagues that we compare ourselves to have been around for a long time, but it also gives us the target for what we should be able to accomplish within esport. Then moving on to gaming, and as some of you know, participating today, we have been very active over the last 9 months. We have created a new gaming entity called Gaming Co. Together with our partners at InnoGames, and where we have then organized all our gaming assets underneath. We also concluded the transaction with Hutch, a leader within mobile racing games, and then is about to close then Ninja Kiwi, which is known for its evergreen Bloons title that we are also highly excited about, that will also be joining the Gaming Co. as well. And we feel that we now have started to create a more diversified gaming portfolio, even though we still have work to be done here. We feel that we are starting to get a good representation within both casual and mid-core. And on top of that, we both have now a quite wide portfolio of live games, but of course, additionally, a strong games pipeline of 10 games hitting the market either this year or next year. And in total, we can now reach 22 million monthly active users, which is, of course, a strong foundation to, over time, then both build upon, but also cross-promote. I just want to touch just briefly on our latest acquisition, then Bloons, currently in its latest iteration, Tower Defense 6, which is, of course, a well-known brand for many of the gamers out there. And its popularity continues to increase as well. And we also looking forward to a new iteration that is going to be launched here during the summer, which is called Battles 2, and it's the sequel of Battles. But it shouldn't be forgotten that Ninja Kiwi is not just about the Bloons title, even though that is what is making us most excited. They also have a wider portfolio of games that are currently also available both on mobile platforms, but in some cases even on PC platforms as well. But we feel that this is a very exciting asset to be joining us, and they are also bringing the community build to the gaming family that we have in place as well. So the last slide here on the gaming asset, just to showcase also what I mean when it comes to a diversified portfolio. As said, we feel that we now have both a strong product pipeline in combination and with, of course, a young games that has recently been introduced to the market, in combination with more established games, and then games that you could then say are more in the sunset mode. The thing here is, of course, that we see a lot of synergies between our assets, and that's why we believe that through the expertise from, for example, InnoGames, we will be able to support all the gaming companies to improve the efficiency of UA strategies in combination with boosting the live ops as well, to prolong the lifetime of both existing and new games as well, providing a longer runway for us to monetize these games over time as well. So therefore, we feel that we now have a very strong foundation to continue to build upon from an MTG perspective as well. And then just to summarize, as said, we feel that we have a very strong position within esport. We are today the #1 esport group in the world. We now look forward to a return to normalcy as of 2022, and with the opportunities ahead, and to build this new entertainment form that we believe is in the making within esport, starting to both compare ourselves and compete with more traditional sports. On the gaming side, we feel that we have now a strong foundation through the acquisition of Hutch and Ninja Kiwi, much more diversified, with a much better and more balanced games portfolio as well. And we feel that we now have a much stronger foundation to stand on now as we continue to build the gaming vertical, both organically as well as with more inorganic activities. With that said, that is the conclusion of my presentation, and I look forward to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much, Lars, for an interesting presentation. I would like to start off the Q&A with a question about Ninja Kiwi. Could you please elaborate a bit on your strategic reasoning behind that acquisition and how if it synergizes with the rest of the group?
Yeah, I think that we have a couple of things that we believe are very important for us when we acquire companies. One is, of course, the management team or the entrepreneurs within the company. So we're talking about the Harris brothers here that has been working on the Ninja Kiwi franchise for many, many years. But the good thing with them and their management team is, of course, that we feel that they have so much more to give, and they are highly excited about joining the MTG family as well. So that is something that we believe is number one. It's super crucial that we have entrepreneurs that joining us for a reason. The second one is, of course, that here we have then a franchise that is built on a community idea rather than on a marketing expertise idea, if I may call it that. That means that the popularity around the Bloons franchise is built on fans that are highly engaged into the game, and then drive further interest among new players as well to involve themselves in the game and also gets excited about playing it. And that is something that we believe is an expertise that Ninja Kiwi definitely brings to the table when it comes to our gaming portfolio. Additionally, if you take it the other way, we feel that as Ninja Kiwi more or less has been built without any UA strategies in place, there is of course a lot of learnings from, for example, InnoGames and Hutch as well, to further boost the Ninja Kiwi and Ninja Kiwi's performance also going forward. And of course, the last one is that we believe they also have an interesting idea on how to develop the Bloons concept now, both with the success of TD6, but additionally now with the introduction of Battles 2, which we believe is also something that we always look for is not just the success of the existing games portfolio, but they also have a strong pipeline of games that is coming out. So I think that for us, Ninja Kiwi fits all the parts that we believe are super important for us to invest into a company.
Perfect, thank you. And I think if we turn to esports, I think the most central slide that you showed in your presentation is the discrepancy between the amount of revenue you can earn from a kind of, let's say, baseball fan compared to an esports fan. So I would like to ask you, how are we going to, close that gap? Do you see any trends in that direction? What are the most exciting things you can share with us that make you believe that this is just a matter of time, actually?
Yes. No, I think that we are working on it. And one thing is, of course, then the structure of esports, which I think is number one, which means that we become a more dependable sport, meaning that we have a set schedule of events that is reoccurring across multiple years. It is like tennis, and the Wimbledon final is always the second weekend in June, if I recall it correctly. The same thing should also be true for esport, that that the big championships, so to speak, are reoccurring on the same date as well. So that's number one. Number two is that we also we are digital by nature, but we should also make use of that benefit, being more data-driven when it comes to arguing for the benefits of engaging within esport versus traditional sports. Today, the industry has been a little bit tainted by the use of bespoke KPIs that sometimes can be accused for being inflated. That does not build trust towards CMOs or boards across the world. Rather, we should take competition heads on and compare ourselves to traditional sports on the same metrics as they do, because I think we would turn out well in that sort of a comparison as well. So I think that a more robust set of KPIs to be compared to traditional sports needs to be put in place. And that's something that we also are working on together with other leaders within eSport to get that in place as well. So that one, I think, and then it's just a question of time and creating a comfort for CMOs to take the leap that they need to do. It's always hard, you know. It's a little bit like changing. Changing a league is. If you leave, for example, the Bundesliga and go for esports instead, that needs to take some courage from a CMO perspective. And of course, we should then provide him or her, the comfort to be able to make that leap.
Okay, so any highlights you would like to stress, to give us comfort that things are going in the right direction?
I think that on esports specifically, we feel more excited today than we have done in quite some time, actually. That is partly because we feel that esports is on its way back and that we see that 2022 could be a year of normalcy. The other one is, of course, the definition of esports is becoming much wider now as well. It's not just hardcore gaming, it's also mobile gaming and also in the end, casual competitive gaming, which makes the whole universe much bigger. So that's also an exciting trend that you should keep track of. On gaming, of course, I feel that gaming is just a very, very strong underlying trend that continues to deliver. And from our perspective, we should, with that in mind, be able to deliver both an underlying growth through the assets that we have, but also continue to build a much more diversified gaming portfolio overall. So that would be my concluding remarks.
Great. Just two more questions then. Continuing on with esports, do you believe that will we see physical events come back, or has the kind of the digitalization is it here to stay? Won't people go back to the physical tournaments? What's your view on that?
I think it's going to be hybrid. Because I think that we still need to have these marquee events that fans can look forward to participating in, where you can attend in person. But then when it comes to, for example, national leagues, we could see ourselves actually being able to combine that with more digital format or studio format, because it's a more efficient way of delivering that sort of a concept that is maybe more semi-pro. And then we think that amateur leagues and yourself setting up a league between your friends, that would be fully digital and platform-based. So I think that you're going to see live events coming back on the top, studio events staying on the national level, and then on the amateur side, you're probably going to see a much more platform-based solution as well. And then especially, I'm just looking at the traditional sports in the US today, with the NBA going on with now more than 10 to 15,000 people on the arenas. It feels like we are getting closer to a return also for esport to get back to live audiences again.
Okay, so just one final question then. Mobile esports, how would you say, what is required from a mobile game to be esports worthy, so to speak? Well,
for the first, there we have a lot of both mid-core games and also some of the hardcore games being available in the mobile format. But I think it depends on. Usually it is a PvP format that is the best one when it comes to competing, but now it's a little bit more my personal preferences here. The battle royale genre is also good, but it's a little bit more a mass approach then, as it is not as easy maybe to broadcast if you like to do that. But I think that there are several mid-core, for example, racing games. There are several battle royale style like PUBG or Fortnite that could be potentially also good and working well in a mobile format. But we shouldn't underestimate also more simple style games. Now, being a little bit biased there, for example, the Battles 2 from Bloons is also a PvP game that is maybe not too complex gameplay, but works super well in the mobile esport format.
Okay, very good answer. Thank you very much, Lars. Thank you once again for attending the conference, sharing your valuable insights with us, and good luck on your continued journey.
Thank you very much.